So if you are a cheetah and you're watching this video, I just want you to know that it's a big deal, my guy. It's actually a big deal that you promised that child that you're going to show up this weekend and you know you have no plans of showing up. It's actually a big deal that you promised that child that you're going to buy them a sneaker and you know you're not going to buy that sneaker. It's actually a big deal that the mother is actually following you for the school fees money that you promised and now you have blocked her. You see, all these things happen to a child and they show up later in life. Now, they might show up as a positive, strong child that actually knows how to stand life, or the child might actually become weak, angry at life, and become a problem to society. But that will be decided by the choices that you make as a man. Because I remember, man, now we are all grown up, we are all healed, and we can talk about these things. But I remember like it was yesterday, and it's not one of the greatest feelings that you want to have. Because I remember all those disappointments, man, and all those disappointments actually, for some reason, led to me being the man that I am today, and led to me avoiding all the mistakes that my father made when I was growing up. All those empty promises actually contributed to the person that I am today. But at some point, I had to grow up, and I actually had to find healing, and I actually had to let it go. And yeah, these are the things, man, that make a child. They can either make a child or they can either break a child. Because children actually go to a place called the playground, right? And the playground is one of the most brutal places that children experience. And as a man and as an adult, any grown-up, whether woman or man, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because children have no filters. Children don't know any better, And when children get to the playground, they talk and they discuss things, and they are brutal, Hey, where's your father, Why don't you have nice shoes, They talk. They don't know any better. And a child comes back from the playground understanding that actually there's supposed to be a male figure in my life, and there are things that a male figure is supposed to be doing for me, but this male figure is not present. And then they start fighting the mother, and then they start becoming rebellious towards the mother because someone is missing, and this somebody is actually supposed to cover some of the things that this child has now realized that actually, no, man, there's a man that is supposed to be in my life and doing all of these things. So yeah, man, you don't put your children through that, man. And it hurts because I was talking to one of the female friends that I have who's actually a psychologist, and at some point she used to work in the prison system. And she was telling me that most of the stories there begin with, I don't know my father, or my father wasn't present. Of course, there are other contributing factors, like poverty, like growing up, moving from one place to one place. There are so many things that contribute, but one of the leading ones is the father wasn't present. And if the father wasn't present, then there were things that needed to be provided by the father, but he couldn't provide them because he wasn't present. And then the child grows up, and then they carry this anger, and then they go on to be a problem to society. There's good and bad in any person, but it depends on who is there to usher what is good and to usher what is bad in them. So most of these men actually grow up and they learn most of the things from the streets. But we all know the streets are not good teachers, man. The streets are not good teachers. We all know the things that are happening in the streets and the teachings that come from the street. So if you are a cheetah and you're watching this video, I just want to say, cheetah to cheetah, it's a big deal. So do the right thing by these kids. Be present, man. Show up. Make it matter, man. Find healing for yourself. Because you grow up. I grew up actually without a father, and I know the challenges that come with it. And at some point, I needed to actually get myself checked out. I needed to fix myself. I needed to actually align myself. Because when you're growing up without a father, there are some of the factors that you miss. Of course, mothers do the best that they can. Single mothers do the best that they can under the situations that they are in, to actually give children a decent living, But there are principles and values that actually need to come from the father's side. And if the father is not there, then the child, female or male, miss out on those things. And I talk about these things in the latest book that I just written, which I'll be releasing in a couple of months. And I talk about these factors, and I talk about the surroundings. This is one of the things that made me stand up and say, let me start this life coaching thing and heal the inner child, because I could see that these boys are distracted and they are lost, you know. I mean, I've got nephews and nieces that are experiencing the same things that I went through. And I show up, but I don't show up to actually take charge, because I am not responsible for that. And they know that I'm not responsible. So I don't want to come in and now assume that, not that I don't love being present, but I cannot come in and try and take charge of the situation. So my job is to come in and listen, you know. My job is to come in and understand. I mean, it's small things, listening to them talk about school, listening to them talk about the playground. You know, you listen and you get an understanding of their mindset and where they are. And you show up, you know, you take them for that ice cream. You know, you show up. It's so small things. You take them for that ice cream. You show up, you take them to that soccer match, you know. You make a plan to actually get them those soccer boots that they want, because you understand exactly what they are going through. And it's unfortunate that they are going through it, and the fathers are present and they are living. And some of the fathers are actually out there and they're doing great jobs as stepfathers, which is one of the most shocking things, is that a man can abandon his own responsibility and take on being a stepfather like it's something out of this world. So it's very confusing. But yeah, but gents, I just wanted you to understand that it's a big deal. You know, we all grown up, we are healed. I love the fact that I have my own flaws in life, you know, and I have my own errors in life. But one of the things that I so much appreciate about myself and the healed version of me is that I'm not repeating any of my father's mistakes. Because some of the time, or rather most of the time, we call it repeating, we call these things curses. But these are conversations that were supposed to be had that were never had. And due to the fact that these conversations were never had, we keep repeating the same mistakes, you know, and we keep repeating the same mistakes knowingly or unknowing. And we find excuses as well, you know. But there's no excuse that is good enough for one to abandon their own responsibility. There can never be an excuse that is good enough for that. So yeah, show up, gents. Make it count. Make sure that these kids are well taken care of, man. You know, make sure. I know some of you are watching this and you're saying, no, but the mother is no, isn't. Forget the mother, forget. The mother is not your bloodline. Just focus on the kid, be present for the kids, and do what is in the best interest on of your kids, man. And so that your kids can grow up and become decent adults. They can have flaws, but they are flaws. Not flaws that are led by the fact that you were not present. Not flaws that are led by the fact that they had to survive things. Things that you could have actually been there and actually guided, you know? So I just wanted to know that it's a big deal. It is a very big deal. And happy Sunday.